So when you start a podcast, especially if you're a business or a founder, the question is inevitably like, when is this going to make me money? How is this going to make me money? And I think when people get into this situation where the ROI is needed, it's good to have a video like this in which I'm going to actually break it down for you what it could potentially look like. Now, I'm only going to be discussing one model with you, but no matter what, you're gonna walk away with better knowledge or expectation management when it comes to the monetization or sponsorship aspect. The model I'm talking about is if I seek a potential sponsor, or actually, I am the sponsor. I am going to be promoting my products on my podcast for my listeners that they can use. And this is going to be the model or the means in which I'm seeking to monetize, okay? Now, none of this is meant to be discouraging. It's meant to be pragmatic, and I came up with a very simple acronym that's gonna help you kind of just understand what this could potentially look like. The acronym is LISTEN. And we're gonna go word by word on this, but I think by the end of it, you're gonna see. Now, the first thing we wanna do though, before anything, is like, do we have a product that we know is performing? Okay, like it's a proven product, not a conceptual product. This is a proven product that you know people like, enjoy, and all these other good things. But we're gonna just price that for a founder, let's just say $297. If I am a massage therapist, maybe it's a $297 package for 4 massages or something along those lines, okay? So that's what we'll call it. Now we're gonna get into our first letter of listen, which is going to be listeners, okay? Now let's just say you are maybe in the 10,000 to 50,000 follower range on Instagram, you're posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, and maybe you're like fairly consistent when it comes to your presence on social media. Okay, that does not necessarily mean you're just gonna flip a podcast and all of a sudden you're gonna have this other audience. What you're doing with a podcast is trying to meet an audience where they are. So I would say, just to be super clean and easy, let's just say that we are seeing 200 listeners per episode. And I used a blue marker, but that's all good. So let's just call it 200 listeners per episode is what we're seeing. Now, if people want to trust you when it comes to podcasting, there's a very, very good rule. It's a 7-11 rule. They need 7 interactions with you and 11 hours of your content. This is why I'm a proponent of long form content over short form content, because people would need to see you how many times in order to add up to 11 hours. On a podcast, they could spend 11 hours with you over a month per se if they listen to a bunch of your episodes, who knows? So let's just call it 200 listeners. Now, one thing is very important here is listeners is not the same thing as downloads. Downloads are a leading indicator, meaning like you could have 500 downloads, but that doesn't mean that people actually listened to it. Okay, so like, again, we're talking listeners. These are people that you can see in your metrics, which I'm not gonna get into today, but your host metrics, you know, how many people are actually listening on a regular basis. So we have our offer, we have our listeners, we have that at 200. The next thing is going to be interested listeners, okay? Apple Podcasts actually calls this engaged listeners. It's people who listen to 20 minutes or more of an episode or 40% or more of an episode, okay? We have podcasts right now that I would say the average retention is in the 70 percentile. Some of it is in the 50s for other podcasters. The goal should be somewhere around the 75% range, but let's just say the people who are actually interested and are listening, we're gonna call that 65%. If you are a new podcaster, I would say this is slightly generous, but we'll call that 65%, and that would bring it down to, I did this math earlier, so not have to make you keep up with me, but it is 130, okay? So we now have, and I would say listeners, if you're a business person, and again, ROI is like really, really what you're focusing on, the number 200 is more like opportunities to me rather than listeners, because that is an expectation of the podcast. So let's just call it what it is. So again, interested listeners means people who are actually consuming the episode. Let's say people are consuming about 65% on average. There you go. So there's 130 actual people. Next thing is going to be suitable listeners. So suitable listeners are the people who actually need your product. How many people actually need this massage that you're talking about, or this massage package because maybe it's for sports medicine and maybe this is a podcast for athletes and you have a sports medicine clinic. I don't know. Okay, whatever it is, let's just call it suitable. We're going to say 40%. Okay, 40% of that 130 listeners are people who actually need that product or service right now. That's going to bring us down to about 52. That's going to bring us down to 52 opportunities, so to speak. And look, I don't talk about my podcast audience that way. I'm just trying to speak in a specific business language right now because that's how it is. I do think of my listeners as people, but we're just going to say opportunities here. So that's 52% or 52 opportunities. Now the T means how many people actually tuned into the ad. Okay, people are programmed to skip ads. Okay, and if you have back-to-back-to-back ads, then people are definitely skipping. Someone's gonna get lost in the mix. So hopefully your ad is 30 seconds or less, it's concise, and it's you. So let's just say 70% of people are gonna listen. Again, I'm being kind of generous with some of these numbers. Again, no public math on purpose. I have my little cheat sheet over here. 70% of 52 is gonna bring us to 36. Okay, let me slide all these things up. Reference point above me. All right, so we are at 70%, 70%. We have now 36 opportunities. The E is going to be actually people who engaged, okay? And by engaged, that means like you actually clicked. They clicked on something. 36 is a good number, but let's just call a good engagement rate. Someone who's gonna click through is gonna be 5%. That is definitely generous, okay? You could get a newsletter and you could have 27% open rate or 40% open rate, but how many people are actually clicking on the link that you're providing in it? If it's a podcast link, if it's a business link, in this case, the link is gonna be something in the show notes, like go to the show notes or comment, massage on my DM for whatever. This is people who engaged, means they took action, like they are now kind of in your funnel, so to speak. So 5% of 36 is going to bring us down to 2 opportunities. And I was telling John, so John's over here filming, I was telling him the other day, like once they're like in your funnel, like this is why a podcast or media company like us, like we don't take responsibility for conversions, because once they're here and they click, which we can't control because, I don't know what your copy's like on your newsletter or anything like that unless we're doing it. But once they're at this point, there's a lot of factors way beyond our control. Some of those are how good your website looks. Some might be your copy or your messaging, like does it resonate? Some might be just the price changes or the amount of times you follow up via text or email and it turns them off. Anything that happens between when they demonstrate interest to like when they actually pay or walk away have a litany of factors that just we cannot predict. And that's really challenging. Only you know that. So it's a really good idea to walk through this entire sequence and see what people would see. That brings us to our last thing, which is a new conversion. So let's just say your conversion rate is 50%. Okay, you got a closer and that person is dynamite, or maybe the closer is you. You have a 50% chance here. So let's just call that 2. We're gonna call it 1. So you have 1 new conversion off of 200 listeners. Okay, so now we need to look at your podcast production, because this is probably something that you're doing. You're doing it yourself or you're paying someone like us. I would say a conservative number, at least in my opinion, for podcasting, just audio and maybe strategy, without YouTube and all this other stuff, we'd probably say 4K. We have clients that pay us that right now for strategy, for guest coordination and other things, and no video involved, no video editing involved or anything like that. I'm gonna call it 4K per month, okay? That doesn't mean that's you, but I'm just giving you a number out there. If you want it done right, like that, it's up there. So 4K. I have not done this math yet. So $4,000 a month is what is getting paid out to produce your podcast and do all the things that you want it to do in terms of editing it, publishing it, SEO, all that good stuff. So $4,000 divided by a $297 offer is going to be 13. Okay, so you need 13 conversions. You need 13 conversions to get to that 4K. And off of one episode, you're looking at one new conversion. Realistically, if you're at 200 listeners per episode, 4 of those a month is gonna be 4. So you're gonna be about 9 conversions short. I did that math. I just did that math in real time. I can't even believe it. 13 minus 9 is 4. That's 13 minus 4 is 9. I'm just proud of myself. So 4. 4 is not enough. So what I would say to this person is, and this is something that probably should be doing on calls going forward, is like, let's look at this and see if this makes sense. You know how many times my wife and I have wanted to invest in an Airbnb property and the people kind of talk us out of it? Dude, we love to talk people out of this because I think podcasting, especially when it's focused on the monetization or sponsorship aspect, it just really minimizes kind of like what it is to truly build an audience. And a podcast audience is a highly engaged audience. I mean, just think of the last time, you told someone about a reel that you saw. So I'd be like, oh, let's just say we're talking about dogs. I would tell my wife, oh, I saw this crazy reel about this dog who ate a dirty diaper that was in the diaper pail or something like that. Like, cool, 2 seconds, it's over. Like, I just mentioned a reel. I don't remember the account. I don't know any of that stuff. However, let's just say I'm talking about John's School of Powerlifting and I'm talking to my wife about it. I'd be like, I cannot believe what he was saying about squats, how it's actually more important to go lighter with perfect form, and this is how you judge your form in order to do this, and this. And I was like, I've been doing it wrong the whole time. I was going heavy. So yeah, she'd be like, where'd you hear that? And I would say, John's School of Podcasting. You should check it out because maybe my wife's a power lifter too. But just think about the context in which you're referencing each of these things. A reel you're mentioning like that, you probably don't know the person, you probably don't know a lot. You just saw something that was potentially viral. That, in this case, does not equal customers. You need people who are talking about you at a deeper level, who are saying your name, who are saying something educational that you took away with it, in order to have kind of trusted listeners, and that's why they're highly engaged. So this one person who's worth $297, might not seem like a lot, but they really are. But to get 13 of them in a month is probably gonna be pretty freaking challenging. So that is if you have, I would say, maybe a lower ticket product. Okay, let's flip this whole thing, and I'm gonna just do the math on the fly here, with help of a calculator, of course, of something that is maybe like a $3,000 coaching offer. Maybe you're gonna coach people for $3,000, for a 12-month period, and that is what you're doing, and this is what you're selling. Now, let's just say it goes months and months of no conversions or anything like that, no problem, okay? But if you made one conversion here, you get to a place where you make one conversion, that's 3,000. Okay, obviously you make, so you're $1,000 short of covering your production costs. But this is one episode. So 4 episodes with one conversion each at 12K, you're now profitable by 8K. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just really think about the offer that you're putting forward, and please don't think for a second that there are not people out there who have 3K offers that they're doing on their podcast. Like, just because it's a podcast and you're putting something in the show notes does not mean it needs to be a lower tier product. It could be a high ticket product like a $3,000 coaching program. It's just the runway takes a little longer. And if you're focusing on your audience and giving them like freaking just great information over and over and they're consistent, this sale is actually easier than the $297. I promise you. I could tell you that for a fact. I've done it, clients have done it, but this is, I just wanted to show you that. So listen, again, I'll recap these really quick. This is listeners. These are people who are actually interested, meaning they're consuming a certain portion of the episode. These are suited. S is for suited listeners, people who actually need what you have. The T is for people who actually, what is the T again for? The T is for tuned in, meaning they didn't skip the ad, they listened to the ad. E is engaged clicks, or engaged people, the percentage of people who are gonna click through. And then N is a new conversion, the percentage based on your average that you have. That is what it is. I really, truly hope this helps. Like, everything I want to do in podcasting circulates around managing expectations, whether that's someone I meet online, whether that's someone I coach, whether that's someone who's a client and comes in here and films. It's really important to just put some of this stuff out there. This model can be great, but what can serve you better than anything It's just allowing yourself to have a good runway to get to this place, and then you might be able to do something like this in spades. The returns are absolutely outsized if you hang with it long enough. If you have any questions, hit @PodcastRich on Instagram. We would love to field any questions. If you have any other questions, you could obviously comment in the comments below on this YouTube video. But we did one of these the other day, and then we decided to make it a little bit better with an overhead cam and all that good stuff. So I hope deeply that you got some value off this, and we look forward to producing a lot more content like this.